Honesty, passion, experience. It's Timberwolves Explosion, hosted on the sportstuff.com. And now, your host, Paladino Joey. Hello again, Timberwolves fans. Are you ready for the explosion of Timberwolves basketball? I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Timberwolves Explosion is available on Apple Podcasts / iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Double Twist. Thank you once again for joining me today. Great to be back talking Timberwolves basketball. 2 games this last week, and unfortunately, both losses. As an old friend of mine, Nick Borboom, if he's listening, he used to listen. I don't know, I haven't heard from him in a while. Hope he's doing good. Would say, could be worse, right? Yeah, could be worse, but could be better too. Kind of sucky losses. Both games that should have probably been won, I think. I mean, losing to Memphis at home, come on. Even Wayne Hunt would agree with that, right? Wayne Hunt, Grizzlies fan, no Ja Morant. Come on now. 115-107, and then the Dallas game, the Wolves are leading by double digits well into the second half, and then just it didn't work out at all. That was crappy. I don't know. Dylan Brooks killed the Timberwolves again, just like last time around. Again, there's no Marc Gasol. Ja Morant had a pretty good game last time around. This time, it's Dylan Brooks and a bunch of bit players. Tyus Jones got to start at 7 assists. Nice homecoming for him. Want to give a shout out to Kelvin, also on Facebook. He actually offered me to go to the game. I just couldn't make it. Just too much. And for me, it's really hard to go to games. It's a pain in the butt to go to games. It's like almost like an airport now with all the security and such. It's getting silly. And it's fun to go. Don't get me wrong. It's fun to go and I should go, but I think my analysis, my ability to analyze the game and all that, a little better actually being here, unless I was way down in press row. Then there you go. Yeah, down in press row with a laptop and hooked up and everything. That'd be a lot of fun then. But I don't know. You know how HD is. You know how HD is. It's easier. So again, shout out to Calvin. I appreciate him so much. And of course, my schedule is, it's fluctuating all the time. So I just never know what's going on until like the day comes. Unless it's a work day, then I know exactly what's going on. But again, a 115-107 loss. Nice to see Tyus Jones have a little moments here and there. It was a decent game for him. Dylan Brooks just killed the Wolves though. 4 of 5 from downtown and a big fadeaway late in the game. He was fouled by. Or was he fouled? You know what I mean? It was one of those ticky-tack calls by on Robert Covington late in the game, and then ended up kind of being the dagger with about a minute left. That was frustrating. Jeff Teague, of course, again moved to the bench. Interesting statistics brought up this week. I'll cite the show Raised by Wolves. Obviously, very good show on Score North. Please stick to this show if you can. If you can listen to both, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, please stick to this show if you can. But an interesting stat brought up though that the Timberwolves, with the Jeff Teague lineup out there, the Jeff Teague starting lineup, the classic Robert Covington, Trevon Graham with Wiggins and Towns. Jeff Teague, in a 70-minute span, they've been outscored by like 14 points. It's just crazy. 70 minutes combined with the players, and then with Culver, it's like the opposite. It's like 14 points. The Wolves outscore their opponents. So a huge difference with Jeff Teague and Culver starting. Clearly, Jarrett Culver brings. He brings a lot. He does. He's not the best shooter yet. He's got some, he's got some wrinkles to iron out. He's got to get stronger physically, all that. But he is a very valuable player. I love his defense. He's more tenacious. He can drive to the basket. He's showing more and more confidence. You'll definitely see that in the Dallas game. But he was solid in the Memphis game. He did make half of his shots, driving to the basket, and a couple of mid-rangers. Did make 1 3 along the way, 1 of 4. Not great. Generally speaking, though, the gist of today's show is like the three-point shot. I mean, it really is, the three-point shot in general. And I know last show we talked about the top of the key with Karl Anthony Towns. The guy's like 50% from out there. That's insane. And then Wiggins actually was better with dribble threes, basically. Like putting up threes after like 2 or 3 dribbles, if that makes sense, of course, versus the catch and shoot, which is the darndest thing I've ever heard. Catch and shoot is super high percentage in my humble opinion. For me, it's like crazy. It's like a complete difference. Of course, again, if you get a rhythm, you get a feel for the ball. I mean, that feels damn good making a 3 in those situations. Believe me, I know. Karl Anthony Towns is definitely catch and shoot, though. And when he's up at the top of the key, just catches it and lets it go. And again, like I said, 50% from downtown. during the course of the season, or slightly under it. Whatever. Close enough, like 49%. 30% for the Wolves in this game, 11 of 36. And generally speaking, it's been plaguing them forever, giving up threes, 40% from Memphis. And again, Dylan Brooks, wherever the heck he came from the last year and a half or so. Nobody knew who he was like a year and a half ago, unless you're like super duper hardcore in terms of like, every single player on every single team. Like you have to be a borderline general manager. And I know people have heard of him. We've heard of him. We've seen the name in the lineups, but it's like, you don't really know all that much about him until now. He's a good player. Now he's a good player. Sometimes guys emerge like that. I mean, they do. Obviously, we all know who Grayson Allen is at Duke, and he was a well-debated figure, kind of a chippy guy. He made half of his threes. He's a valuable piece. And again, then during that Mike Conley acquisition for the Utah Jazz, Grayson Allen winds up with the Memphis Grizzlies. And, well, I mean, he can certainly hit the shots. He can certainly hit shots. He can frustrate people. He's more of like a shooting guard than a point guard at the end of the day, even though he can certainly play the point. But it looks like he's more of kind of an offensive, spark plug off the bench. That's what Grayson Allen was in this game, much to our chagrin. Not a good game for Minnesota. Andrew Wiggins did not shoot well at all. Karl Anthony Towns did not shoot well. 1 of 10 from downtown, 7 of 20, 6 of 17 for Andrew. It was guys like Covington and Culver, they should have gotten the ball more at the end of the day. It's just, I don't know. Certain players, you wish, when their shots aren't falling, they give it to hotter hands. I mean, there's hot hands on the floor. Jeff Teague made all 8 of his free throws, so that's good. Again, he doesn't provide the energy at times, which drives people insane. And it's making him very tough to trade, even though it's a $19 million off-the-books type of situation. Timberwolves' salary cap situation is what it is, because you got Karl and Andrew, gulping up a lot of it. Obviously, nice to have Shabazz Napier back in the fold. He made a single 3 in the game and made a free throw down the stretch after missing one. Josh Okogie's minutes have fallen off a bit. His shooting has gone down the you-know-what. Unfortunately, Keita Bates-Diop continues to be insanely efficient. Insanely efficient. I'm just going to keep saying that word. Insanely efficient. Keita Bates-Diop. I don't know. Everybody calls him Diop. I thought it was Diop. I don't know. I'm going to keep calling him that. Made both of his threes. He provides defense. He provides intangibles. He's a better player than Trevon Graham. Trevon Graham started out the season doing, with the intangibles and occasional make a couple baskets close to the hoop, that type of thing. Maybe a 3 once in a blue moon. But he can't shoot, and everybody knows it. The whole league knows Trevon Graham can't shoot. It's like you just watch one Wolves game, a portion of a Wolves game with him on the floor. He can't shoot. It's like plain as day. So Keita Bates can. And Keita Bates does bring a lot of those intangibles that Trevon Graham brings. I would say Trevon Graham's a more physical guy. He's a big, tough son of a gun. I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley. Trevon Graham's a real tough son of a biscuit. Pardon the goofball French there. That wasn't even anything. He's a real tough guy. Keita Bates-Diop, not as physical, but certainly does provide a little bit of everything. A little bit of offense, a significant offense, an efficient offense, a little defense, some rebounding. He can, again, move the ball around very well, swing the ball around, and the fact he can hit threes, which is, well, it's, like it or not, that's the Wolves system. And the Wolves are not worrying about personnel at this stage. The system is the system. And at this moment, it's a good thing the Timberwolves are 500 versus 6-13 like Memphis, but Memphis is 2-0 against the Timberwolves. So, yeah, that's 2 of those 6 wins, Carl, against us. Great. I'm sure Wayne Hunt is having a good laugh at that one, and I don't blame him. Actually, I don't blame him. I'm not too cocky right now at 10-10. I'm not too cocky at all. But, I mean, at least we are 10-10, despite the fact, see, the system and the personnel doesn't match that well. It really doesn't. Apparently, the players, other than Karl, Andrew, and Robert Covington, are 27% from downtown. So, clearly, the other players around them are not shooting well from downtown, though I would make an exception with Keita Bates-Diop. He is making his threes. He's making them, and I appreciate it. He's actually 54% right now. So that percentage could climb. Jarrett Culver's not too good from downtown yet, and he wasn't too good in college from downtown. His numbers are steadily climbing, but generally speaking, his field goal percentage still stinks at this point. We're used to that around here at our point guard position. He's actually the only Timberwolf at this moment who's played every game. So, cool. Only one Timberwolf remains on the entire roster who's played in every single game. So, bravo, Jarrett Culver. Didn't get suspended, didn't get hurt. Good for you. And luckily, no personal issues either. So, again, like sad things happening in the background, which Andrew Wiggins, I feel for him there. And, of course, he got sick right afterwards. So he missed a third game after the two personal ones, unfortunately, there. And the thing is, when I was talking about 27% from downtown, it's not like Andrew's scorching the net. He's about 34.5%. That's, it's okay. Covington is decent from downtown. He's been a classic D3 most of his career, and he can definitely hit the three. Though I wouldn't say he's been on this beautiful clip all season, because he hasn't. Jeff Teague isn't even, he's making 1 out of 4 all season from downtown. He's not shooting well at all. His assists are nice. He's a steady offensive weapon at times, but then you get the effort. You're wondering if there is any. You sit down and analyze Jeff Teague. You watch him, and you know there are moments where he just looks like he doesn't care, and then he does care, and then he doesn't care, and he does care, and he doesn't care. It's kind of back and forth. It's confusing and frustrating for all of us Timberwolves fans at the end of the day. Jalen Noel continues to not get playing time, unfortunately. I wouldn't mind seeing him out there, but I do like what Jarrett Culver has brought to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I do. You're seeing intangibles, you're seeing aggressiveness, and you're starting to see some of that confidence that wasn't really there at the beginning. I think Jarrett Culver will be a good player in this league. I do. Is he going to make the All-Star team 5 times? Not quite there yet, but I'm not quite confident that he's going to be that type of player yet. But again, as he fills out physically, and he better, damn it, he better add some muscle, a significant amount of it. And I think Jarrett Culver could really be something in this league. Again, he can do a little bit of everything. He can, and he can hit threes, particularly in momentum situations, particularly in the Dallas game. That was a good one for him. Had some really good moments in that one. Unfortunately, the Timberwolves as a whole just kind of let that one slip by, just like we did with the Memphis Grizzlies, who led most of the game. Awful third quarter, 38 points. Again, getting scorched from downtown in the fourth quarter was just kind of a seesaw battle that wound up with Memphis winning by 8 points in the Target Center. Timberwolves' home record is not up to par, folks. I'm not impressed. I'm not happy. Kind of ticked off, actually. And I don't know. I don't blame a soul who is. I really don't. We better quickly move on to the Dallas Mavericks. Not too surprising, the Timberwolves lost this game, but at the same time, with how well the Wolves are playing, or at least the position the Wolves are in because Dallas wasn't shooting well, Luka Doncic, Mr. MVP, which, no, not yet. I'm not going to rip on Luka Doncic, believe me. I'm not up here trashing Luka Doncic, okay? Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not crazy. Timberwolves are 3-7 at home, 7-3 on the road. That is crazy. So you're literally, there's your 500 record. 3-7 at home. 3-7. And this was only the Wolves' third loss on the road, by the way, in American Airlines Center, home of the Dallas Stars as well. Luka Doncic, yep, he's one of those guys with a small forward body who plays point guard at a very, very, very high level. Did not have a good game. He did not. He was 1 of 8 from downtown, but the 3 he did hit was major down the stretch. It was a dagger, one of many daggers by the freaking bleeping Mavericks in this game. One of many daggers. Dwight Powell didn't miss anything the whole game. 9 of 9, including 2 threes, 24 points. A perfect game, basically, for Dwight Powell. Awesome night for him, number 7 of the Dallas Mavericks. So both guys at 7s. 7 and 7-7. Yeah, hit some big shots down the stretch. Luka Doncic, again, he makes it look easy. He almost has a slow motion vibe to his game. It's interesting. He's kind of like Harden a little bit, but maybe smoother? I don't know. Obviously, smooth. Harden's obviously an established all-star. Everybody loves him, and actually, no, a lot of people don't like him, but everybody knows he's a star. He's an MVP candidate every year because he can do everything. Offensively, he can do everything. Offensively, he can do everything. Let's leave the defense exactly where it is when it comes to James Harden. Luka Doncic. One thing about him, and Jim Peterson brought it up. Yeah, remember? I was comparing him to Arvydas Sabonis a little bit. Obviously, different size. Not 7'3", 7'2", whatever, like Arvydas Sabonis. That guy was a human giant. He was he was one of the giants in the land that they mentioned in the Bible. Yeah, that's Arvydas Sabonis. Doncic isn't that big. He's only 6'7", but still big for a point guard, obviously. And boy, the unicorn looks like a giant. He does. He's so tall, obviously, very long. That's why his defense is so great. Perfect fit for the Mavericks, by the way, for so many reasons. Oh, yeah, the unicorn. He is a son of a gun. He really is. But no, back to Arvydas Sabonis. Remember, almost every other time Arvydas Sabonis went to the basket, he'd put his hands up and shake his head and kind of chuckle and laugh about the call. It's kind of fun to watch. And you were seeing that from Luka Doncic. Almost every other, he complains a lot too for a 20-year-old. He loves to complain. He does. Arvydas Sabonis was so funny. Me and my friend Paul used to laugh and have fun watching that. He's going down the court. Every other time he went down the court, he thought he was fouled, and there's no call. I loved Arvydas Sabonis. It was so funny, and you're seeing a little of that from Doncic complaining one after every single play, practically. Where's the call? His hands are up in the air. It is what it is. It's entertaining. I'm sure it's annoying for the refs. He might build a little reputation for himself if he keeps it up. On the negative side, we'll say this was not a great game for Doncic. So. Back-to-back times in Dallas for me that I saw Doncic against the Wolves, and I'm like, he's not that great. Yeah, he is, but he's not an MVP in my mind. He will be someday, probably. He's probably going to get it someday, but he's not there yet. He's not. Even when he's at the top of his game, he's not quite there yet. It's just not time. Keita Bates-Diop was out there at the worst time. He made every shot in the game, but only 3 attempts, and he was a minus 23. Unlucky for him, he was out there at the wrong place, wrong time. Literally wrong place, wrong time. Robert Covington at +8 in the game. Pretty good. 6 of 10 from downtown. He was the reason why the Wolves are ahead. 22 points. Games like this are why you fall in love with Robert Covington and wish he could do this every night. You wish so much he could. You know the talent's there. You know the ability's there. But sometimes they just, the ball just doesn't go his way. Guys like, obviously, Towns and Wiggins have their roles, and they take their 20 plus shots a game most nights, even when the shot's not falling. Like Wiggins, 7 of 24, like Wiggins, but 9 of 11 from the free throw. And at least he made well over 50% there. Wiggins' efficiency, in my opinion, has dropped dramatically the last week and a half. I don't know. I hope to see better. I like the 26 points. I like that number, but 3 of 8 from downtown isn't bad. It's not great. 7 of 24, though. I mean, it's just forcing up shots when other guys probably could help you out. Teague was awful. 6 assists, though. That's good, but generally speaking, awful at the end of the day. In moments when you needed him. Shabazz Napier, you barely even noticed him out there. He's just kind of part of the scenery right now. He has Trevon Graham had a good solid 12 minutes out there. He was efficient in the time he was out there. But, again, the Wolves bench did not provide a whole lot in this game. Gorgui Dieng didn't score, and his minutes are so low in this game. His minutes were so low in this game that it didn't help. Josh Okogie enters the starting lineup. And he was okay. He got his rebounds. He provided some energy. But, again, he was not a difference maker for the Timberwolves in this one. The difference maker for me was Jarrett Culver, where the 2 difference makers were Culver and Covington. Towns obviously very efficient in the game. Don't get me wrong. He was awesome throughout the entire night. And I'm not poo-pooing Karl Anthony Towns at all. He was the best player on the floor, period, in the game, I'd have to say, actually, generally speaking. It's just, other than Dwight Powell, my goodness. Dwight Powell, whose man was that? That's my one question. At the end of the day, I'm sorry. But Covington and Culver, awesome. There was a great moment there, too, when Doncic was driving to the basket, and Culver literally just stripped the ball right out of Doncic's hands, came down the court, couple dribbles, and then put up the 3 and nailed it. It was his only 3 in the game, but it was a wonderful momentum play by Jarrett Culver, literally stripping the ball away from Luka Doncic, showing no fear whatsoever. Saying, yeah, you're a great player, but I'm going to challenge you. And he challenged him well. And then he driving down the court and hitting the 3, wound up with 8 rebounds and 6 assists to go with his 11 points. It actually counted as a steal, I believe. Yes, that was a steal. He did have 2 blocks in the game, too, from your point guard, Jarrett Culver. He's going to provide some really solid, tenacious defense, even with the lack of strength. One 20-year-old versus another. Culver and Doncic. Nice battle between the 2. Very impressive at the end of the day for Culver. Frustrating Doncic on some plays. So you can't tell me that Doncic's field goal percentage being so poor had nothing to do with Jarrett Culver's defense, because it did. I'm impressed, and Jarrett Culver is becoming more and more already of what he could be in this league. A solid defensive player who can kind of do everything. And I think the numbers are going to come up. I think there's a reason why Jarrett Culver went as high as he did in the draft, 6th overall. There's a good reason, and I'm looking forward to Jarrett Culver's future in this league. I can see him averaging 17 points, 9 assists, 6, 7 rebounds, and then be a defensive force that'll frustrate the hell out of people. And maybe the numbers will be even higher than 17 points. Obviously, we're just not there yet. He's at about 9.5 right now. And again, the 3-point percentage isn't there. But I think it's coming. He had a good, just the way he released that ball after the play. When he's kind of in those momentum moments, when he's coming up the court and lets go of the ball, that's when he's at his best, I think. I think he's at his best in those plays. When he it's just a momentum three. Boom, those big moments, which could make him a very, very clutch, very deadly player in the years to come. I like what I see out of this guy. I do. I'm impressed. I don't necessarily see him as a perennial all-star, but who knows? I mean, the sky's still there. I mean, there's still no ceiling for Culver at this moment. It's not because I think he's going to be the next Michael Jordan. The ceiling, there is no ceiling yet. That's the good part. I don't think there really is. I don't think it's like, oh, this is all he's going to be. No, I think there's a lot more to come. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see Culver strengthen up and build even more confidence, and hopefully that 3-point shot develops more and more, because it's there. I think it's there. I think it's there, and I think it's coming. I think it's going to go up. Before you know it, he'll be 35%, and at least at Wiggins level, and go from there. So we shall see what happens with Jarrett Culver's future. For me, again, it's the 3-point shot in a lot of ways. That's going to we're going to live and die by the 3 here in Minnesota. And over the next couple years in the summer, the free agency, the trades that will happen, there will be trades, and I do hope Jarrett Culver is not one of the people traded. I'm looking at Jarrett Culver as a guy I want on this roster. I'm telling you, I want Jarrett Culver on the Timberwolves roster, because look at him versus Jeff Teague. And Jeff Teague is a player who's been established. There's a reason why the Timberwolves paid him $19 million. It's not because he's a complete piece of crap. All of you out there that might be ripping him and saying he's trash, he has had some success in the league with the Indiana Pacers, Atlanta Hawks. So he's had success in the league. It's not like he was garbage. I was actually kind of excited when the Wolves signed him. I always kind of liked Jeff Teague, and I liked him going into the draft years ago. Still can't believe how long ago that is. My God. Seems like yesterday Jeff Teague was there, and I'm on the internet pressing the ESPN. That was right about when that lottery machine started. When you just press the button and it does the little shuffle. Timberwolves picked number 1, Yes! Well, they did once. Thank God they got that guy. Whew. We all know who that is already. Cat. So, and I'm not a nickname guy. I like to just call him who he is, Karl Anthony Towns. But no, Jarrett Culver is not a guy I want to lose right now. I don't want to package him in a deal. I want him on the Timberwolves unless you're literally getting I don't even, Doncic? Unless you're literally getting like a Doncic or something, then it kind of is what it is. Then it is what it is. But Jarrett Culver traded? No. I think he is a big piece. And again, the difference, the minus 14 versus plus 14, I don't think you can really argue with that. That's a spectacular statistic. Absolutely spectacular statistic at the end of the day. Love Jarrett Culver. I don't know if I'm going to give him the... I want to give it to him. I want to give him the Lone Wolf Award. I think it's got to go to Karl Anthony Towns, generally speaking, just almost by default. It's not like he had a spectacular game against Memphis, but he was very good against Dallas. Now, obviously, he's the best player on the floor. But I'm going to give and Wiggins was decent against Memphis. No, he wasn't. He put up some points. He put up some numbers, but generally not that great. 7 of 20 for Karl. I want to give it to Culver. I'm going to give Culver the alpha wolf for this show. As good as I'm going to give it to him, because again, he was good against Memphis, good and solid. He was better against his overall stats were better against Memphis, but the way he challenged Doncic and the difference maker he truly is on this team, I'm going to give Jarrett Culver the alpha wolf for this show. And again, obviously, strong honorable mention, or you can share it with Karl Anthony Towns, that type of thing. That's because it's kind of common sense. Wiggins did not shoot very well. I don't think he was that good for the most part. I kind of almost want to give Wiggins a very weak Johnny Flynn memorial. At the end of the day, I don't know. I can't give it to Gorgie Zhang. Jeff Teague is going to get the Johnny Flynn memorial. Yeah, just no energy. He had some moments here and there against Memphis, and he was awful against Dallas when he could have been a difference maker. He could have helped at least be that spark plug off the bench, which he was not. He was not the spark plug off the bench. I think, again, Culver versus Teague is a pretty big no-brainer at this moment for the Timberwolves. It truly is. So Jeff Teague will be bringing in the Johnny Flynn Memorial for these two games. With that said, we got 4 games to preview now as the schedule deepens and gets more interesting. I talked a lot for just 2 games, but I had a lot to say. A lot of analysis there going in with Jared Culver and some of those numbers and Doncic and all that. So I'm sure you don't mind. I hope you don't. With that said, we'll come back and preview 4 games and move forward. Gerson Rosas, I know you have moves to make up and coming, but don't trade Jared Culver. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion. Got 4 games to preview, and that's what we're going to do here in this segment. Oklahoma City Thunder, OKC, which once was an entertaining matchup, hopefully still can be. Danilo Gallinari leading that club in scoring, along with Shai SG Alexander. Let's just call him that. Shai Alexander? It's Alexander. He's a guy acquired, again, in the Paul George trade. I almost called him, it is Chris Paul. Chris Paul and Paul George. Chris Paul and Paul George. A guy by the name of Justin Patton has played 2 games for them. Way at the bottom there, about 4 minutes a game. He scored a basket in each. He's gotten 2 personal fouls in each. Wow. Impressive start for Justin Patton. He scored 1 basket so far for them. That's what he scored for the Timberwolves. 1 basket. Nerlens Noel, limited minutes, but still, can be a spark plug. I'd like to have him. Dennis Schroeder. Always want to call him Schrader, but this one it is Schroeder. Schroeder, right? Where's Lucy? Okay, Dennis Schroeder, again, valuable spark plug type of player. Obviously, plays point, plays shooting guard with Chris Paul, mostly manning the point guard position. He's actually played in all the games so far. It's kind of weird seeing him in a OKC jersey and the OKC Thunder riding the pine in the Central Division, Northwest Division. Yeah, the Northwest Division. I'm thinking about football there. Minnesota right in the middle at 10-10, trailing Utah by 1 game. We'll be playing them coming up. Danilo Gallinari leading them in scoring. All these players that have played for the Clippers or whoever else. Danilo Gallinari was on the Clippers for a while. And, of course, he was, obviously, he has now wound up on OKC. What a weird team. What a weird freaking team. And all those draft picks that OKC acquired for Paul George. Again, also Mr. Russell Westbrook, long gone as well. Interesting team. I think the Wolves need to take care of business here. There's no excuse. Again, Steven Adams is still there. He's still a piece. He's still dangerous, and he's a pain in the butt for Karl Anthony Towns. Danilo Gallinari has torched the Wolves in the past, and Chris Paul has had some huge games against the Wolves. Chris Paul's well past his prime, I got to think. Obviously, he is. Danilo Gallinari still, he still can play. Obviously, he still can hit the 3. OKC is 17th in the league, which is right about where the Wolves are, about the same three-point percentage, somewhere around there. Field goal percentage 10th, so they actually make some shots. Points scored 21st, and rebounding, they are 25th in the league, which I think is an advantage for Minnesota, and it's a road game, which I think is another advantage for Minnesota. For some reason, we play super good on the road, and I think the Wolves can take care of business here. Very winnable situation. Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Of course, these 2 teams have not played each other this season. It's going to be it's an interesting matchup in terms of it's completely different. It's a completely different team compared to what they've been in the past. Minnesota will be playing OKC 4 times, as per usual. Of course, being in the division, we'll be playing next on January 13th, then the 25th of January, and March the 13th, much later, at OKC. We'll be playing the next 2 games in Minnesota in January. So, yeah, to me, there's just no excuse. Minnesota needs to win this game. Minnesota's actually 3rd in the league in rebounding. And to think I ripped this team for rebounding, but it's just the Denver game was so bad. It was so frustrating. Field goal percentage, Oklahoma City. When you have guys like Danilo Gallinari, they're going to be way ahead. Our offense is significantly ahead of theirs, generally speaking, but their field goal percentage, they're a little more, efficient in just simply hitting their shots versus the Timberwolves. They're 10th in the league, so they're efficient. That's what happens when you have a veteran point guard running things, putting players in the right position to score. But the Wolves have got to win this game, and I think the Wolves do. Minnesota is going to wind up scoring something along the likes of, I think it's going to be something like 120, 110, 120, 108. Minnesota ends up winning the game. Karl Anthony Towns is going to have his moments. He's going to get to 25, 26, but I think Wiggins, this is the team Wiggins always seems to own, even though the players are different now. Andrew Wiggins loves playing in Oklahoma City. He really does, and I expect Andrew Wiggins to eclipse the 30 mark significantly in this game. You'll see a higher efficiency from him than you've seen all week. He might end up getting he just may very well wind up getting the Alpha Wolf Award this week. We'll see what happens. He'll be stealing it away from Culver and Towns, right? We'll see what happens, but I expect Wiggins to come out firing and get over 30 points in this game. 33, 35, 38 points from Andrew Wiggins. I can just see it coming. And the Wolves win 120-108 over OKC. And if the Wolves lose the game again, it's because of guys like Danilo Gallinari, getting hot from downtown, which can happen, which has happened many times in the past with the Clippers and the Denver Nuggets years ago. Danilo Gallinari has torched the Timberwolves in the past. That would be one of the reasons the Wolves lose the game, if we're unlucky at the end of the day. Now Minnesota will wind up playing against the Los Angeles Lakers Sunday night. All right. After the Vikings beat the Detroit Lions, I would hope, on Sunday. I would hope the Minnesota Vikings are going to beat the Detroit Lions, and if we don't, you better cancel your playoff tickets because Los Angeles Rams are going to knock down the Wolves, I think, in that stage. I really do. Los Angeles Lakers, we had some success against them last year when LeBron was hurt. Yeah, that was fun. Actually, we did beat them with LeBron last year, didn't we? Which is crazy because we never beat the Cavs with LeBron. Never. We'll be playing the Lakers 3 times. They got that beautiful classic logo that they gave up for a while, and when they went with the L and stuff, I think that was just an L of a logo. If you want to get millennial-ish, that was an L of a logo. I hated it. Look at the Lakers now. Love the uniforms now. Love that classic. Oh, I love that. Yeah, and they still have that damn L, don't they? The secondary logo. But they were using it for everything, at least on most publications, like on Yahoo and such. Now you get the classic Magic Johnson era, even the early Shaq and Kobe era. I loved it. But I'll go with Magic any day. LeBron's closer to Magic than Shaq and Kobe, that's for sure. The Lakers have won 4 out of the last 5, losing recently to Doncic, Porzingis, and, of course, the Dallas Mavericks, something we did very well the other night as well, 114-100. I didn't actually look at their last 5 with OKC, but we could go back to that possibly. Lakers, it was basically, they've bookended 2 wins in between the loss there. Beat Denver, beat Utah, back-to-back there. And, of course, those are the most recent games. They beat the Utah Jazz. One just recently, last night. 2 nights ago, pardon me. Utah Jazz 121-106. Just a spanking on national television on ESPN the other night. Just an absolute spanking. Washington Wizards, no surprise there, 125-103. And the New Orleans Pelicans, still without Zion Williamson, but he'll be back pretty soon, 114-110. Oladipo hasn't been back either, which is frustrating. Wolves will play the Lakers 3 times. December the 8th, which is Sunday. March the 30th, wow, much later. And then April 12th. So we'll be wrapping up the season pretty much with the Los Angeles Lakers, with LeBron James, who might be wrapping up the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, 19-3. My goodness. Staples Center. As good as the Wolves' road record is, what an impressive win this would be. Impressive. Very impressive win for the Timberwolves. Maybe we'll win. Maybe just because of that. Maybe it's just, the Wolves just get up and play. Karl has a big game like he always does in L.A. Karl's going to be the big main factor here against the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James, of course, there's your MVP candidate, Antonio Davis, who's, did I just call him Antonio Davis? Anthony Davis. I just called him Antonio Davis. I'm losing it. I apologize. I can't help it. I'm going crazy. Fun. Antonio Davis. Antonio Davis. But again, Lakers are just killing everybody. They're second in the league in field goal percentage. No surprise there. 12th in three-point percentage, 12th in overall offense. You'd think they'd be a little higher, but it doesn't matter. They just win. And right in the middle in the rebounding category. Almost 3 blocks a game for Anthony Davis. Yep, who was a great rebounder and shot blocker for the Pacers and such back in the day, Raptors and such. But Pacers is where I really remember him. Kyle Kuzma. There's a big drop-off between Davis, after Davis and LeBron, but it is what it is. Good for LeBron. He's been healthy all season. He plays that he's got that Tom Brady style where he's Tom Brady. It's the way he just kind of, he doesn't waste energy when he doesn't need to. That type of thing. It's not slacking off at all. It's walking rather than jogging in certain situations when he doesn't have to jog, when he doesn't have to do this, when he doesn't have to do that, when it's a dead ball, just walk. Stuff like that. I love that about LeBron. And Tom Brady kind of has all these subtle ways of kind of just, maintaining his youth. And that's why LeBron James is still at the top of his game at an older age. Very impressive. Very impressive. Kind of love both of them. LeBron is definitely the Magic Johnson of Los Angeles today, averaging about 11 assists a game. To me, there's no... To me, I don't really think the Timberwolves are going to beat the Lakers. I don't. Just because of these two guys. As long as they stay healthy, nothing crazy happens. Or if Karl Anthony Towns and Wiggins just team up together and just go off, maybe Rocco gets hot along with that. It would take a combination of players for Minnesota to really, really step up and have a big game, kind of like we did against the Golden State Warriors a couple of years ago in April. That was awesome in the Sam Mitchell and Tom Thibodeau era when we would step up and beat the Warriors late in the season. It would take a performance like that from multiple players, like we had Shabazz Muhammad, Zach LaVine, and Wiggins just take off in those games. And then Karl had a huge game with Wiggins the second time around, if I remember correctly. I remember Shabazz Muhammad just went off. LaVine went ape. He just kicked ass. And Andrew Wiggins had a huge night as well. I still remember that first one with Sam Mitchell as the coach of the Wolves. That was a lot of fun. Dwight Howard fills his role, this and that. He blocks about 1.5 a game. That's really good. They're one of the best shot blocking teams in the league just for that very statistic. And again, JaVale McGee's averaging over a block a game as well. And Mr. Shaqtin' a Fool himself. I love it. It's always fun. I miss that. Those are always fun to watch. I love it. I just haven't been watching them lately, and I need to. For a while there, I was getting tired of TNT, but I'm starting to love it again. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope can hit some threes, but he's been a frustration for Vinrock, Vince Germano, Stu Benson, and others for the last couple of years, especially that price tag when he was making about $20 million a year for what he is. It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Like $2 million per points per game. Are you kidding me? Get out of town, man. Are you kidding me, man? It's pretty weak stuff. Rajon Rondo, again, Mr. Celtic, Mr. Laker now. He's got to play for two very proud franchises over his career. That's got to be pretty cool. That's every kid's dream to play for the Lakers and Celtics, especially when both teams have had success. The Celtics won a championship with him, got to the finals again. Now this Laker team might get to the finals, might win it all. So that would be every kid's dream, picking up a basketball, to play for the Lakers and the Celtics and maybe even win a championship for both and be actually a factor for those teams. Pretty cool. Much as people rip on Rajon Rondo because he's a little too much, a little bit too, he's a little too chippy at times, but I don't know. He's living everyone's dream, I got to tell you, as a basketball player. He's living everyone's dream. Much as me personally, I'd love to play for the Timberwolves, like this and that. Say, like I would have loved to play for the Timberwolves growing up. To play for the Lakers and Celtics in a major success, like with a great player like LeBron or the Garnetts, the Paul Pierces, and Ray Allens years ago, and he was a huge factor for that team. Man, cool, man. That would be so cool to play for both franchises in big times like that. Anthony Davis and LeBron, man. Okay, I'm daydreaming. I'm going off again. Wow, I apologize. I do think the Lakers beat the Timberwolves. Unfortunately, I just think they're too good right now. 19-3. They might win 70 games this year. They might. It's a good mix of players. The role players play their roles, blah, blah, blah. The main players are getting the job done. LeBron James is literally Magic Johnson right now. He's Magic Johnson with higher points per game, significantly. Averaging about 8 more points a game than Magic most of his career, because Magic was so generous with the ball. Obviously, we all know that. That's why he was Magic. He could put the ball anywhere he wanted, anytime he wanted. That's why he was so freaking good. As long as they stay healthy, this team should win. This team should be the favorites to win it all. I mean, they still have not lost a 7-game series after playing 22 games. So just look at it that way. Just look at it that way. LA is the best team in the league right now, and they will beat the Timberwolves, unfortunately. Something along the likes of 118. Like, they don't score a whole lot. Their defense is a factor. They score, but it's like middle of the road. Their defense is a big reason why they're so good, along with the excellent players, obviously, at the top. It's going to be like 118 to 110, 118, 115. It's going to be a good, epic battle back and forth. I do expect Wiggins to get up for this game and have a big night. upper 20s, low 30s. Karl Anthony Towns, upper 20s, low 30s. I do expect Covington to hit multiple threes, get to near 20 points a game. I just think the Lakers will be a little too much, and I think the quote-unquote role players for the Timberwolves are not going to be as good. I hope Culver can step up and do well. It's going to be fun to watch him against Rondo, kind of a couple of guys that can play some defense, maybe hit a big shot here and there. But Culver's not ready to be a 20-point player yet, upper teens, low 20s type of guy yet. But when those days come, I think the Wolves could be a threat for the Lakers. And, of course, LeBron's only going to get older, obviously, we all know. I do think Culver will develop quickly in the next season. We'll see what happens. But I think the Lakers win at 118, 112, something along the lines of that. And there you go. I do expect a very entertaining, fun battle, though. If the Wolves come out and get smoked 121 to 90-something, kind of like Utah recently, I'm not going to be a happy camper at all. But who knows? Minnesota versus the Phoenix Suns. Oh, goody. That's, yeah, I don't know. Why is this going back like this? Apologize. This is the crappy part. I do think the Wolves are going to have a lot of energy given up against the Los Angeles Lakers. This is what could hurt the Wolves in a big way. This could give the Wolves a little losing streak here, unfortunately, kind of like we just had this week, a little one. After all that energy spent against the Los Angeles Lakers, hopefully the Wolves can win, but I don't know. It's going to be a pain in the ass matchup. This Phoenix Suns team has been a pain in the ass. They've been a thorn in the side for the Wolves. I don't know. This game reeks of loss, too. It's a road game. Again, you know, the Wolves barely lost to the Suns at home, but we only scored 98 points. It was an awful game, actually. We'll be playing the Suns on March 18th and April the 7th later on in the season after this one. So it'll be a couple months till we get to see Devin Booker again. We'll probably see DeAndre Ayton in March and April. Obviously, a valuable player is Mr. Ayton, but he's not been available due to a suspension. Unfortunately for him, Devin Booker can hit a three in his sleep sometimes. Sometimes he can make shots in his sleep, attack the basket. His athleticism and quickness are why his field goal percentage are so high, along with the fact he can shoot. That does help. 25 points a game, almost 95% from the free throw line. That is just sick. That is sick. So the guy obviously has a shot like most of us would dream we could have. We could only dream. Rubio's averaging about 9 assists, but he keeps missing games. Hopefully he gets to play this time for his sake, not for our sake. I think they're a little better with him than without him, of course. Tyler Johnson is just an adequate backup point guard. He's a good, solid backup point guard, but not a guy who's going to make anybody blush, per se. I don't like this matchup. It's been a pain in the butt forever for some reason. Though we've had some good games. I liked when Devin Booker and Gorgie went at it last year. That was funny. Devin Booker's pants almost came down. That was kind of embarrassing. His shorts, whatever, almost came down as he was trying to struggle to get back to challenge Gorgie Zhang to a fight. I don't think Devin Booker would win that fight. I don't think so. I think Gorgie Zhang is I think there's a little something extra with Gorgie that Devin doesn't have in that kind of situation. That's just me. I don't like this matchup at all. It's been a pain in the butt. I keep repeating myself. And depending on how much energy we spend on the Lakers the night before, it's tough to get back. And now you got to play the Suns the next day, and you have to travel a little bit, which isn't too far, but it's a little ways. It's not that close. A couple states away. I don't think the Wolves win this one either. I don't. I think it's low scoring, poor shooting. I don't know. It's a pain in the butt. I hate Phoenix, man. They're 9th in the league in field goal, 9th in threes, and 5th in points scored, 26th in rebounding. Again, that's, where the Wolves hopefully can take advantage and do something, but they didn't last time. Only 98 bleeping points, and I think it's going to be a similar situation. Phoenix might go off for like 110 or something, but I think it's going to be like 106, 105, 108 to like 100, something like that. Phoenix. Unfortunately, we're going to need a big game from Karl. He's had some big ones against the Suns. Andrew's had some big games against the Suns in the past. This matchup that just drives me nuts. I hate it. I hate the freaking Suns, man. We always struggle against them, and I don't understand it. Culver started at forward last time around, which is weird. Karl had a massive game. Wiggins stunk, 9 of 21. Awful. Karl's going to be the guy. Karl's going to be the guy to lead this club. Keita Bates-Diop had a big breakout of a game, 9 of 18. And he missed some threes in this game, but that previous game, but he really torched it. Karl's stupid three from China, though, was not very exciting for me. It made me want to scream and curse at the semi-TV screen. We'll call it a 4K phone screen. 4K, even though the video quality is never 4K on cable TV or of any kind. There is no 4K live television, really, unless you're really lucky. Most of it's all 720. It's still in 2019, which is ridiculous. So with that said, I expect Carl to have another big game, but I don't think the Wolves win. I think this will be a close, frustrating loss again to the Phoenix Blippin' Suns until they prove otherwise. That's just how it's been. I hate it, man. I can't stand it. I hate this matchup. Okay, I've repeated myself 70 times now. The Utah Spaz. We get the Spaz against the Utah Jazz coming up. Well, at least Rubio's not on them anymore to drive me even more crazy. Hit some catch-and-shoot threes and piss us off some more like he did the last couple of years. This matchup is kind of funny at times. Wolves have had some good moments against this club. In fact, we did recently. Well, it's the typical Timberwolves this year. We beat them by 10 on the road and lost by 8 at home. That sounds about right. We're at home again. Okay, I'm not going to pick a loss here. I can't. I refuse to. I think this team is going to be mad and frustrated after losing 2 in a row, especially against the Phoenix Bleepin' Suns again, which I'm about ready to go ape crap about that. I'm so tired of it. Utah's obviously a pain in the butt to play against as well. Donovan Mitchell's a guy who can... He's streaky. He gets hot, he gets cold, he gets hot, he gets cold. They're 19th in the league in field goal percentage. I think that's because of guys like Donovan Mitchell. 5th in the league in three-point percentage, which has been the Wolves' Achilles heel forever, since, Bill Musselman was coach. We've basically been giving up threes. 16th in rebounding. 25 a game for Mitchell. A little under that, but still 37% from downtown. Bogdanovich torched us last time around. God almighty, that guy didn't miss a shot last time around. Rudy Gobert is a pain in the ass to play against. Everybody knows that. He'll just poke that ball away with those long arms. He's a defensive player in the league, basically. Best defensive player in the league. He's like a 14-14 guy. 14 points, 14 rebounds. He'll frustrate the hell out of you. He'll get those cheap tip-ins. Jeff Green is a nice, solid role player. Blah, blah, blah. Mike Conley is a shell of himself, I think. He can't shoot anymore. He cannot shoot anymore, let's just be honest. But he can hit the three on occasion, which is probably what he'll do against the Timberwolves, because everybody does, because it's just how it is. Emmanuel Mudiay, a guy. He makes shots from the floor, but he can't shoot from outside at all. He's a strange cat, that Emmanuel Mudiay. Another guy who's hot and cold is Joe Ingles. When he's hot, and when he's not, he's not. Like, he can be like 9 of 10, and the next day he could be like 2 of 12, that type of thing. And it's always, do you ever notice the field goal attempts go higher when a guy's not shooting well than when they are shooting well? Did you ever notice that? It's like, I can come out of it. I'm not going to keep missing, and then like 2 of 20. That's just great basketball, isn't it? At the end of the day, I think the Wolves beat the Utah Jazz. Believe it or not, I'm just going out on a limb here. I mean, this is like, I can't pick the Wolves to go 1-3. I can't. Utah's not that great, and the Wolves need to win this game. I think they're going to be pissed off if they're losing to the Lakers and Suns, and maybe we beat the Suns. Maybe we beat the Suns. Maybe we beat the Lakers too, or we beat one of them. But I think one way or another, the Wolves are going to beat the Utah Jazz and get at least their 4th win at home. I got to hope their 4th win at home, because they're going to be playing a lot of road games here. 3 roadies here coming up. Well, 4 now after Dallas. I think the Wolves do beat the Jazz. Oh, something along the likes of... I mean, how have the Jazz been doing lately? The Jazz, they've not been playing well. They're 1-4. They only beat the Memphis Grizzlies, which is, again, something we can't do, which is driving me nuts. Other than losing to the Lakers big time recently. Losing to Philly, losing to Toronto, getting crushed by them. Getting crushed by Indy, too. Utah's not been playing so hot of late. I think the Wolves are going to get the win. We'll go with 115 to... That's going to be a close one. 115-114. Very close back and forth matchup. Karl Anthony Towns, come on out and play. Get your 35 points here, hopefully, against Rudy Gobert. But then again, no, I don't think so. I think it's going to be more like Wiggins and Culver and Covington, guys like that. Karl has struggled against Rudy Gobert. He has. He has had his moments. He has really had his moments. Only 10 field goal attempts last time around. Barely got the ball in the game, but he did make his threes in catch and shoot momentum fashion. I'm expecting Wiggins to lead the club in scoring in this game. And again, some help from Culver and Covington. And of course, Towns as well, hitting from the outside in those catch and shoot situations when you're not going to get Rudy Gobert out too far at the end of the day, because you're probably not. They're going to keep him down low. That's the best way Karl Anthony Towns is going to score points against the Utah Jazz, and on some of those catch and shoot threes in those situations. But the Wolves do beat the Jazz barely. in Target Center. With that said, we'll take a quick break, come back, and wrap the show up with some fan interaction. And we are back here on Timberwolves Explosion, segment number 3, fan interaction segment. It's going to be a little quiet, but we will hear from Wayne Hunt, who is obviously one of the best ever. Love the guy. Love when he posts. Got to love that. We'll get to that in 1 second. At Wolves Explosion, is the Twitter account for the Timberwolves Explosion podcast, or Timberwolves Explosion show. Vinrock, Vince Germano, Tanae Brown, and Levi Brown out of New Zealand. Vinrock Vince Germano is out of Australia. Can't thank you guys enough for retweeting the most recent show. God bless you very much. It was called From the Top of the Key, episode 265. Feels like there should be more episodes by now, but kind of is what it is. Some stuff I see is funny on Twitter. Okay, someone followed. Let's give them a follow. Who are you? Okay, followed. Yep. Reese Fredretti. He was tweeting about something else. not basketball related. It's kind of funny. Not to me. Just recent tweet from Doug West. He's alive. He doesn't. Michael Holzer. There he is. Okay, let's go. Let's go to see what Doug West had to say. Now I'm curious. So you really think you're a shooter? This is a shooter. Look at his teammate waiting. Yep. Oh, I see. Just keeps making every shot. Almost looks like Zach LaVine a little bit. I don't think it is, though. No. Oh, Prussia. Okay. Very interesting. Pennsylvania. Yep. Doug West. Yeah, I got to get him on the show someday. I've been thinking about that forever. I wonder if he'd even respond to me if I tweeted him, but I guess you'll never know unless you try, right? So that's Twitter for now. I need to tweet more often. I never do lately. Try to tweet during games. I think I would get a lot of conversation going. But let's hear from Wayne Hunt, Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion, Facebook.com/Timberwolves Explosion. Wayne Hunt, yes, I'm going to say it, the alpha dog of the Courtside podcast. Wayne Hunt, Vinrock, Vince Germano. Wayne Hunt is out of Sydney, Australia. Vinrock Vince Germano is out of Melbourne, Australia. And Stu Benson is the second richest man in Sydney, according to the introduction there. The Courtside podcast, they form a spectacular duo. Wayne Hunt is a Memphis fan. Vinrock, Vince Germano, and Stu Benson are Laker fans. And, of course, I'm a Timberwolves fan. I think you could kind of say that. And, I like to follow the whole league as best possible to bring a better show to you, of course, because having knowledge of all the teams throughout the league, you're a little better to analyze what's going on and compare players. And, of course, you can tell I'm seeing things out of Jarrett Culver that are making me feel good. I am. I'm seeing things out of him that are making me feel positive. Even though his statistics don't show it just quite yet, there's signs. There's signs that that's a guy that's going to be a valuable player for years to come. I like the way he challenges players, and he doesn't just let people go right around him. It's a good sign. Very encouraging sign. He challenges and then actually does something. He doesn't just hold his own. Like Indy Eby held his own against LeBron James, and that meant a whole lot of nothing. He didn't do anything. He didn't. So what? He held his own. Why he didn't get flat killed? But then you have Jarrett Culver just stripping the ball right out of Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic did not look good in that play. Jarrett Culver was the better player there, so that's a good sign. Very good sign. Okay, Wayne Hunt, let's get to what he had to say here, because the Wolves played Memphis again, and what happened? And he was joking about, I was like, stop losing to the Memphis Grizzlies. Yeah, stop losing to the Memphis Grizzlies, all right. So let's get to him. He says, I'm not sure what's happening on your end, but could you stop losing to Memphis? Oh, now I lost it. Okay, can you stop losing to Memphis? I'm starting to get false hopes that we can make the playoffs. Zing! Oh, I love when he does that. Seriously, though, you can't lose to rebuilding teams. That just shows a lack of focus. You're damn right it does. Especially without, he's going to get you here, without core players. Yeah. He says, dude, I just went back and watched the Memphis game. What the heck? You can't lose to a rebuilding team that has its core players out. You might as well have lost to a G League team. Cat has got to earn a good 3-point shot from a bad one. Has got to learn a good 3-point shot from a bad one. Yeah, he takes stupid shots sometimes, and I don't know. It's youth. It's this feeling like I'm a great 3-point shooter. I can shoot from anywhere. No, you got to know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Catch and shoot from the top of the key. Go for it. I mean, that was the last episode. Top of the key from Cat. Top of the key. 50%, baby. Sometimes you got to chill out. You can't just shoot that all the time because maybe it's not your night. That's another problem. He says Cat has got to learn a good 3-point shot from a bad one. Get in the paint, which I would appreciate as well. I would appreciate that in a big well. Get in the paint for Carl. Bruno Cabucho, 13 rebounds, and Crowder, 10 rebounds. Yeah, and this is a team that's third in the league in rebounding, the Wolves. Yet, see, that's the thing. We're third in the league in rebounds, yet we've gotten beat multiple games this way by not rebounding. That's what drives me insane. When you're like third in the league in rebounding, yet there have been games when literally the rebounding is why you lost. Or, well, it's a big reason why you lost. You lose possession of the ball. You don't have the ball, you can't score. You can't score, you can't win. It's that simple. He says, I know I brought it up a few weeks ago, but you guys really do need a leader. A floor general who won't stop playing hard until the final whistle. I love my Grizz, but I would be livid if I was a Wolves fan after this one. And I was. Yes, I was livid, all right. Could you tell? All this game says is no focus, no heart, and you looked too far ahead on the calendar. Yeah, I don't know if we're thinking about Doncic, and we lost that one too, by the way, or LeBron coming up on Sunday. I don't know. Whatever it was, they figured, oh, we can win. Our road record is so good, and we can beat the Memphis Grizzlies. They're not that great. Our home record isn't good, but we'll take care of it. We'll take care of things. We can win at home against this Memphis team. It's just Memphis. They're only 6-13 or 5-13 at the time. No, you can't screw around like that. And I agree 110% with you, Wayne Hunt. Thank you so much. I love when you post. Please keep these coming because you're a gem to this show. You truly are. I mean that 100% sincerely. That's why I plug your show like I've never plugged any show, ever. Wayne Hunt created the Courtside podcast, brought on Vince Germano, and has brought on Stu Benson the last couple of years, about 2-3 years now. Stu Benson's been on the show. He was always a part of things, always commenting on the page for the Courtside podcast. But over the years, it's really developed into a great show, like it always was in the past as well. They go back to 2010, 2011-ish. They were still posting shows during the lockout. Me and Marcus posted one show, so we were around. We did post one show, and it did super well because fans were so excited. And plus, that was the famous, it was called State of the Timberwolves 2011 Part 2, where we were kind of talking about Rick Adelman and all that, because Rick Adelman had been hired as coach during that time. And then, because you can still hire coaches during the lockout, nothing to do with the players. And we talked about that. We talked about Ricky Rubio and all them coming and begging and praying that the damn lockout would end. And then we went on into imitating Al Pacino and Christopher Walken. That was a lot of fun. Al Pacino and Christopher Walken way back in 2011. So, yeah, just saying, But the Courtside, they just kept releasing shows during the entire lockout. How cool is that? I didn't jump on board until 2012, embarrassingly. So that's the one thing. I didn't jump on the Courtside podcast bandwagon until 2012. I didn't meet them yet. Didn't know them ever since 2012. I just what a wonderful year that truly was in a lot of ways. Got to meet those guys, which is awesome people they are, and I met so many good friends over the years from there. Australia, now New Zealand as well. Like a year after that, 2013, Danae, and then Levi like a year or so after that. I love you guys so freaking much. You don't know how much, man. You don't know how much. If I have like 10 listeners left, I hope it's all of you guys. Seriously, if only 10 listeners are left on this show, I hope it's all of you. Every one of you guys. With that said, I want to thank all of you that do listen. Thank you so much again. Hope to hear from you soon. Some of you that I haven't met from Australia, locally here in the Twin Cities. Got to meet some local people. Have met some. I've met Brandon. I believe he's from South Dakota, which is totally fine. South Dakota has got some awesome sports fans. Hockey, obviously basketball, and football, of course. Tony Coleman in the Purple Mafia world there. That's the Minnesota Vikings podcast I do with the Purple Mafia. God bless all of you locally here in the Twin Cities and, in the 5-state region here, Iowa and such. Thank you for listening to the show as well. Got to give you credit as well for being a part of things. Want to meet you. Get to me. Join the Facebook page. Tweet me, whatever it is. Call into the show. The way you can call in is through audio submission. Every smart device on the planet has a free voice recording application, or you can even download one if it doesn't. But it does. But if you want one that's prettier or something, you can download Simply press the record button, treat it like a phone call, hit stop, save it, and email it to paladinolive@yahoo.com. Paladinolive@yahoo.com. You just basically share, send, whatever. Paladinolive@yahoo.com. All this information will be in the show description to make things easier if you need to for like copy, paste, whatever. In the show description, Apple and Stitcher, Google, all that, you'll all be able to see it back. So like right now as I'm talking, you can see it. Literally, you can see it. Even though I personally myself at this second where I haven't typed it in, but obviously when you're listening, you can see it. Duh. Like, you know how that works. I want to ask anybody out there as well, if you're willing to write a positive review for the show on iTunes/Apple Podcast. If you have the time to do that, would be greatly appreciated. Stitcher, Double Twist. I don't know if Double Twist has it, but I'm pretty sure Google Podcasts have it. If you can write a positive rating about the show, I'd greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. And can't thank you enough. I'd mention you and thank you right here on the air, if indeed, if and when I do see it. Can't thank you enough in advance for those of you that have done that. But by the way, when you email me the file, more than likely it won't be an MP3 right away, which is totally fine. It'll take me 10 seconds basically to go to Zamzar or Converto.com. They will convert it to me for free in seconds, basically, into an MP3 file so I can put it right here in this editing software, Audacity. Get things rolling and have it right here. Have it on the third segment for fan interaction. Zamzar and Converto.com provide a free service, so I'm more than happy to give them a free plug each and every show just because of that. And of course, if you have a bigger file to convert, you can join the first cheap price monthly subscription if you need to do it regularly for business or God knows what else you're doing. Maybe entertainment, which would probably be business if you're doing a file that big and doing it that often. That said, want to thank all of you for listening. God bless you. Hope you're enjoying the Christmas season. Hope you had a safe Black Friday. Hope you got home okay. Got what you wanted if you were really into it. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, cyber. I'm all about cyber. Screw going out in person unless you know it's right there and you can get it right now. That'd be the only reason I'd go in person. Heck, one time I went in person and I had to get it offline anyway, or off the internet anyway. That was just this Christmas tree I'm looking at right here, right now. It was on a good sale, and I needed a new tree because the wiring just stopped working on the previous one. So I got this new one here last Black Friday, not this recent, not this year, that way. So I'm right there in the store buying it off the internet, buying it off the Target application. So go figure. Do you get it now? Cyber versus in person? Because it wasn't there. It was gone already. There was like room for like 2 of them or 3 of them where, the warehouse, who knows, there might be 100 of them. And I got it. So, bada bing, bada boom. Just waited another day and didn't pay a penny for shipping. Not that why am I even talking about that? But then again, I'm just making fun of how silly Black Friday is going out on Thanksgiving Day. Come on, man. I don't know. I think that's silly. Going online on Thanksgiving Day? Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's how I got the TV right there. So, easy peasy. With that said, I'll shut up now. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you enjoy the show. We'll talk to you next week. Hopefully the Wolves have more success than I'm projecting at this point.